If you are so inclined, Stuart, my buddy old pal.
I am inclined, and I've done so. So everybody heard you say, my buddy, my pal. So
Oh no,
you can't pretend anymore that you don't like me.
that was a plan. That was oof. I feel like I've been. Is this a prank show, Stuart? This is like an 8-year prank show just to get me to say something nice about you. And he finally came
Yes,
through, and all it took was just pressing live 14 seconds early.
yes,
And that's it for this week's Trekyards. Thank you all for tuning in. We've achieved our almost decade-long goal.
yes. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Today, Samuel. I mean, you
Oh,
live in this country with the Queen. The Queen's coming back, apparently.
or has
I've
she
heard
never
this.
left?
Well, yes,
And hopefully our queen never leaves. Hopefully she'll be cryogenically frozen and stay around for the next more years. Because, think about how many generations of our people have lived with the queen.
yeah,
It's beyond a thing,
yes,
I
yes.
think she's seen like 11 prime ministers. And because she's been the queen, she's actually said she's approved of 11 prime ministers. That's part of her job, so
That's
that's,
nuts, man.
yeah. Like she's seen every single evolution of technology, from before space travel to phones to
Yes,
Trekyards.
yeah. She's an avid watcher. She comments quite a
No,
bit.
no, her corgis are.
Oh, gotcha.
They
Yes,
like the accents.
yes. Well, wow. Anyway, BORG Queen. Oh, wrong. Oh, we were talking about the wrong queen there. Sorry. So
Well, there's only two queens out there. I mean, 50% chance we're wrong, but I mean, hey,
true.
half right.
That's true.
Is being
Yes.
half wrong also meaning half right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Glass is half full and half empty at the same time.
There you,
Yep. Anyway,
I'll start
yeah. There's
sharing.
a yes. Please go start sharing.
Talk to the peoples.
40 people watching, 36 likes. Hit that like button, guys. Let's see if we can get up to at least 50 to start. That'd be great. Super chats are a great way to support the channel. They get your comment read, your question answered, all that jazz. We do read them all, so if you can, please do. It does support the channel and helps us know that you guys want us to keep doing this content and helps us do this content. So you can also join the channel. First of all, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to hit the join button beside, you can see the monthly tier as far as how much you can support us on a monthly basis via YouTube membership. Or channel membership, I guess, and how much or what rank you can get depending on how much you want to sponsor. You can also head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. It's another monthly way to help us out, and we'd really appreciate that as well if you can. You can also send a PayPal. The PayPal information is in the description of every video. It is trekyards@hotmail.com. Just let us know in the regular chat that you sent it, and we will read your comment or question via the email from PayPal. But yeah, I mean, today we're going to be talking about some news about a new actress being is going to be portraying the BORG Queen in season 2 of Picard, and just exactly what that means. We've seen some evidence of, season 2 of Picard and some alternate reality things going on. So we're going to talk about that today and get your thoughts on it as well. So, yeah, if you can help us out in any way, please do so. Also, don't forget that there is the TeePublic and Teespring store down there. The TeePublic store actually has a sale on right now, 35% off some great Trekyards merchandise. So if you're able to pick something up, please do so, because we love seeing our merchandise, and a lot of people have sent us pictures of the shirts they've been ordering, and honestly, TeePublic's been fantastic stores. So, but Teespring also has some cool stuff as well. So check those out also. But yes. So hit that like button, guys. 61 of you here now, 46 likes. We can easily hit 50. We only need 4 more likes. So if you want to hit that like button, if you haven't, I'd really appreciate it. I mean, by the end of the stream, I want to hit at least 100. But so just, if you haven't hit it yet, just hit it. It's that simple. If you're on a mobile device and you have the live chat open, you can't see the like button. You just click the little X in the top of the live chat. It'll close. Hit the like button, and then there's a little live chat. There's 2 little voice bubbles. In there, you just hit that and brings the live chat right back. So this is not an alternate reality of Trekyards. No. One more like to get to 50, guys. 70 people here, 50 likes now. That's awesome. But we're going for the next goal, 75. So hit that like button.
I'm back.
He's back.
So, Stuart, what do you think when you heard the word that BORG Queen officially returning? Although, can I briefly caveat, they officially confirmed Guinan returning, and for nothing from that. So, they also officially confirmed that, Thor, Chris Hemsworth would be in Star Trek 4. They officially confirmed Noah, whatever his name was writing and directing. So they do officially confirm a few things. This, I think, is obviously more tangible, but they confirm a lot more than actually comes to pass. Slight caveat there. But, on that note, what do you think?
I didn't think much of it, honestly. I mean, and then once you actually start thinking about it, there is a lot of questions that arise, like, this is an alternate reality that we've seen so far. If Q's changed something, it could be a different queen. Like, there's a lot of things that come to mind. So it could be pretty interesting, but honestly, I would kind of BORG Queened out. I don't really care. Like, she's not an interesting character to me. So, but it'll be, yeah, there's lots to talk about as to how she maybe came back. So,
I mean, I've said in every time we've talked about the Queen, she's not a character, she's a manifestation of the collective. So by saying the BORG Queen is back, you're saying the Borg hierarchy is back. The Borg is a force. That's what it's really saying. I mean, I'd find it silly and misunderstanding of this Trek if, like, the BORG Queen comes to Picard herself and says, John Luke, I need your help to defeat this. And it's like, no, that's not how you... No, you don't... No, that's not right. I need to help Renegade Borg that took my throne. It's like, no, that's not how that works either. So, it has to be handled in specific ways, Yeah,
and we never got clarification in season 1 as to what the Borg were actually up to.
No clarification. Completely.
I know. We know the artifact was separated from the collective, but we don't know what the Borg threat was at the time. Yeah. So, honestly, I think I would have been more interested to hear that the BORG Queen was appearing in season 4 of Discovery. Like the Borg are back in the 32nd century would have been very cool. But that being said, we have seen alternate reality or some kind of alternate dimension or something on Picard season 2 from the sneak peeks we've seen. And if Q, changed history or something changed history, could be that the Federation never ran into the Borg when Q sent them to the Delta Quadrant. I think it was the Delta Quadrant. So I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, and even just the artifact reactivating and stuff could have created a new BORG Queen. So I was excited for like a half second, and I'm like, oh, that's not interesting to me. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about it, and it's like, wow, this opens up so many possibilities. So long answer to a simple question. How about you, Samuel? How did you feel?
Well, I mean, we've all wondered after Endgame what happened, because while it feels a very finite ending, when you stop and think for more than 6 minutes, you're like, oh, okay. They got set back. It's like Romulus being destroyed. It will not truly affect anything more than a little bit of time. That's why Picard misunderstanding that in season 1 is such a disrespect to, like, really understand the franchise. So, the Borg were not destroyed. The Borg were just set back. And so there should still be queens active, plural queens, still working there, who may then decide, it's not worth revenging. The collective has said, we've had enough of dealing with Earth, as we did for the first 6,000 years of our existence. Let's stay to our quadrant. Let's go to the Gamma Quadrant instead, That's an easy choice to make when the risk-reward seems to be every time we deal with them, we lose. We want perfection, let's find perfection on the Gamma Quadrant, or more in the Delta Quadrant, And so seeing post-Endgame is interesting, and the complete dismissal of what happened is confusing, but they didn't want to get into it, obviously. Now, having the Queen doesn't actually mean post-Endgame, and you said for one of the 2 reasons, but very likely to get around all the issues, it very likely could be 7 of 9 flashbacks to while she was assimilated, because she was part of the BORG Queen's hierarchy. So if Seven's getting, because she's a bigger character, because they want her to be this big part of the show, if she's having Borg nightmares involving the Queen, Jerry will wear the makeup, or younger actress will wear the makeup and whatever, and then you see her do horrible things as one of the Matrix Zero, which would be fun in itself, and you're seeing BORG Queen Classic. Now then the issue is they would probably invent some new art design, even though we know the art design at the time, so they'd hurt that BORG Queen even more, because they can retcon stuff to look stupid. We saw this goddamn awful art design in Season 1. That's one way. It would be fun if it was the old Trek doing it, because you know they'd respect canon, you know. Alternate Universe is obviously smart, then everything is out the window, do whatever the hell you want, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not as much, you know, I'll say cause and effect, but there's not very much meaning to that beyond the referential nature of, oh look, we're fighting a Borg. Is it our Borg? No. Is it going to matter long term? No. Cool. It's like the All Good Things future. You know that doesn't really matter because it's not the real future. So you kind of ignore everything that happens in the grand scheme.
Yeah. Well, Cirrus just makes an interesting point. The question I have is, why so late are we hearing about this? Is this new edition where they need to do a reshots, or has this been planned and this is a delayed press release? My speculation is, I know they're filming seasons 2 and 3 at the same time.
Back to back.
Maybe they're finished with season 2 and they're just going into season 3. So this might be a season 3 thing that we're even talking about. This could be like the end of season 2, the BORG Queen's back, and you're like, oh, and you got to wait for season 3. Or it's a small inconsequential part of the story that they just finally decided to release it to interest us a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so two things on that. We know they already announced they just finished season 2 of Picard filming, I think, on Friday. And they're back to back, but I assume there's going to be like at least a week of pause, because to give everyone a week of pause, that's fair. But season 3, great. But I don't know why anyone thinks they would announce a villain. Like, most things in a show are kept spoilerific. It's like, imagine if in the season... do you really think in season 3 of Discovery, before they released it, they said, oh, and by the way, our villain this year is going to be a Green Orion? Well, no. Like, this is a leak. Yeah. This is a press release because someone found out, and they reported it, and Star Trek got ahead of it and put it out themselves. Because this actress maybe said to somebody, oh, I'm playing a BORG Queen in a few days. You know, something that simple. And they get ahead of it, let's just announce it and get people speculating. Or it's such a small thing, like I say in season 3, that it will release it, get some public positive buzz before the trailer comes out. But you don't announce your baddies or your goodies really ahead of time. That's really, movies are a bit differently of the singular baddie when they're not a reveal normally. But you don't do that for TV shows. I don't know why you would think that would be a reason. I mean, that's the point of shows. You watch them as they come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know.
Not a band account though. $5. Who would beat up Captain Kirk faster in a fist fight? Captain Michael Burnham or Ensign Mariner?
Huh.
Hashtag Trekyards. Hashtag Sam Drinks.
Go to hell.
Probably Mariner. She's more like Kirk. I mean, Michael Burnham's awesome, but what does that have to do with the BORG Queen?
Well, Burnham would win through pure power of coolness. Michael would win because the script told her she'd win, and she'd do like 4 moves, and the BORG Queen would, Kirk would be pansied out. It'd just be, oh wow, you won, good job. I feel nothing in this moment.
Not a band account throws in another $2. How would Burnham beat the Borg in First Contact?
In First Contact? Oh, in the movie First Contact. Get assimilated, make her blood a virus, and then kill them all from the inside, and then just walk out the cube as it explodes in a Red Angel suit.
That's exactly right. She would get assimilated, become the Borg Queen herself.
Oh, there you go.
Tell her, the drones to kill themselves.
Yeah, it's not sleep. It's sleep, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, she becomes the Borg Queen herself and kills them all. That literally is what would happen. That's the most stupidest thing you can think of, and it's absolutely in the repertoire. That's amazing! That should be fan fiction. Burnham versus the Borg. God damn.
Yeah, I mean, Janeway became a Borg, but didn't quite have that level of awesomeness that Burnham has to get up there to be the Queen, so...
Except, Janeway did use the virus technique, but she also died from it. She sacrificed herself, all of her knowledge, which was bad, because then she learned all of her knowledge, so the Borg were more advanced. Which also does tell you that unless part of the virus was to negate the spread of information, which it kind of did, but because as in the BORG Queen talks to everyone in a certain amount of space, and then it's a network. But the data can be disseminated within half a minute, half a second, half a fraction. And so as soon as the Borg learned about the multiphasic shielding, they could also build their own if Joey knew how to, or translate torpedoes. And so the Borg could then tell the cubes how to do that, be more advanced. But if the virus was designed to not allow the communication of the data, then because why would you give the current Borg, future Borg, killer tech, even if they're going to die in 5 minutes? Well, because if they give it to one cube, that cube reassimilates, remakes more, and you've got a more powerful Borg. Or Janeway's plan was just to get them home, though, wasn't it? I can't really imagine that future Janeway would necessarily care as much about long-term consequences. Once I get them home, they can worry about it. That's everyone's problem. My problem is just get them home. Yeah.
Yeah. Marco Vanash says, could it be a flashback queen? Absolutely, it could be. We got the thing with 7 of 9, and who knows what's going on with her in this season, so it could definitely be something like that, yes.
Well, and also just, Picard Borg flashbacks. I mean, he could be having nightmares himself. I mean, maybe like Burnham and Sarek share a mind vision state. Maybe now they've been reacquainted. Maybe the Borg implant, because they said they never met before. So maybe the leftover Borg implants in both Picard and Seven connect when they meet, and now they're able to send telepathic, like this is all like weird Borg shit. But maybe they're both envisioning a queen who's calling to them because the artifact, they're both on the artifact. But it's just their memory of the queen, and that could be really fun. Like they're being nightmared, and because the queen is such a powerful presence in their Borg subsystems, which makes sense, and even there's little bits of those nanoprobes left, it's powerful enough to sort of start reassimilating them from the inside in a vague way, to make them do something kind of cool. I mean, that'd be kind of fun. The Queen of Shadow, the Queen of Nightmares. You can imagine being very scary, very, very intimidating, and then you could bring young Annika, DH, Patrick Stewart, TNG. Very nightmare fuel, and then at the end they come together like, oh my god, both the same dream, oh my god. They're also in a different reality, but who cares, I've forgotten about that plotline. That's the real plotline.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Big E throws in $5. Thank you so much. Great name. I was one of those weird kids who had a crush on the BORG Queen, and if this is actress who would play her, that crush might be coming back. Well, yes.
Do you know this actress from anything, apart from a very small Trek appearance?
No, I don't even remember her name. I have it on here somewhere. Hold on.
The only thing I know I've seen her from was 24, where she played a major part in a few seasons. I thought she was great in that. I know I've seen her in other things, I recognise her face quite well. And I think, I'll be honest, a great face, the BORG Queen, is the right amount of pointy and sharp. And I think with the bald cap, that's a very good choice, I think.
Yes.
I don't know about the acting, because it's very different acting, but I think visibly, very, very effective.
Well, that's the thing. The Queen in Voyager was a different actress until Endgame, and then it was Alice Krug back. Now, this one, could look entirely similar with the makeup on and represent the same Queen or represent a different Queen, a new Queen. So it's hard to say. I actually didn't know that the other Queen wasn't Alice Krug. They did a really good job with her, honestly, makeup and voice wise. So, but anyway,
and because obviously the one's in a motion picture and a 2-hour movie pilot thing, like a movie ending, which is a lot more like big budget. The other one's in a lot more scenes though, which has a lot more screen time. Both very different actually in performance, but they're both playing very, very different scenes, so you wouldn't play it the same. And both have a lot of good and bad things about them. They're very well done different queens, and the pure fact that Seven doesn't blink when she talks to both queens, who look quite different when you know them, just being different people. It's the same queen, just retconned to be a different actor. Like, there isn't actually two queens. There's just that's when we wanted to pay the lower rate, and here we paid the higher rate, and that's fine. It's like when Tom Brady, Tom Hanks, Tom Sutherland, when the guy played Picard in Nemesis, right? Tom Hardy. They're not saying that's a different Picard young person who's not really Picard. There was already a young Picard. We saw him several times, like different actors. So they're all the same young Picard, but it's just different at different times. And there's no canon problem. There's no debate there. It's just that's fine. It's just it's like Alice Krug is in her probably 70s now. I don't think she would want to be in it because I've interviewed her. It sucked. It was great, but it sucked, as you would expect. It was. I don't think she even peed like an entire day on set because it was just impractical and it really was difficult. But she really loved the performance.
It's a bad guy. I mean, people love playing bad guys.
It was a great role. I mean, she does a really good job in the movie. Yeah, 67.
118 people here now with 75 likes. That's awesome, guys. Let's hit 100 now. Let's hit that like button if you haven't already. Not a banned account throws in $2. 709 seduces the BORG Queen to join them.
Huh.
One of the things I think might have happened is possibly the Borg zoned in on that tentacle thing coming through and either know about them or know how big of a threat they are or whatever, and are now that those have started to come through and then got stopped, that sent out a signal to the Borg that they need to attack that threat, and maybe they're going to have a larger Borg presence coming in. I don't know.
It's tricky because the Borg would have scanners of the Alpha Quadrant, Gamma Quadrant, Beta Quadrant, and they can transwarp into Earth easily. So the reason they don't attack is by choice, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that maybe the threat of the anti-Borg tech that Earth has now, you know, being holed up in some warehouse. Well, we can transphasic torpedo your ass. Don't try, cubes. You saw how 3 torpedoes killed 30,000 Borg. Do it. You know.
Sergeant Montgomery, $5. The boy.
Hey.
The Borg could never assimilate Michael's prophetic tears. Those are too corrosive to Borg nanites and TV plot lines. Yes, enter whispering talk. Yes.
So I've got a graphic.
Not a banned account, $2. Oh,
no,
okay. Sorry, not a banned account, $2. How would Burnham win in Best of Both Worlds?
Well, is she being assimilated or not? Is that
is she Locutus? Like, is she in the Riker position?
That's you can't really judge unless you know which one you're asking. Because if she's Locutus, it'd be the same thing we judged about earlier.
Yeah. It's gonna take over.
And if it was in Riker's position, she would just fire one torpedo, hit the weak spot like the Death Star, and blow it up.
Well, a super advanced time warping torpedo that would like hit the Borg, and every Borg nanite would be sucked like 1,000 million years into the future or something.
Yeah, no, very fair. Yeah, and they build it in the time it took them to go from planet A to planet B using only parts of the Enterprise they already had in stock. You know, that's super secret technology that she only learned about that day, and it worked flawlessly first time. Yeah, but it was tech her mom was working on. Yep, which she found. Yeah, which she was getting access to. Yep. Yeah. So Stuart, anyway, I have a graphic. Yes. So this is something I made. I've just got home from London on a 3-day week away. So.
Hey, who's here visiting, man?
That would be a flight, Stuart. That would be a flight. So I made this graphic.
Proof too. Continue talking. It's fine.
So this is a graphic I made because it is worth clarifying that I was expecting somebody in the chat to say, "It can't be a BORG Queen because she died." Right. This graphic features 3 different BORG Queens. Do you know how I know that, Stuart?
How do you know that, Samuel?
They all exploded.
They exploded. And
they all came back, looking the exact same. So yes, there was a BORG Queen on the Best of Both Worlds cube in 2366. There was a BORG Queen on the First Contact cube in 2373. And there was a BORG Queen on the Endgame Unity 01 hub in 2387. I've of course ignored all the Voyager stuff because the Endgame, Augur thing takes place after. Oh no, Endgame, no. What's it called? Yeah, Endgame takes place after all those episodes, so it's irrelevant. So here's the 3 queens in 3 timelines, looking the same, give or take. So 3 different, they all blew up. So to think that there aren't lots and lots and lots of BORG Queens in pods that are being brought out when needed because they're just conduits to the Borg Collective. They did it twice before. They would do it as soon as the shit settled down, they would bring one out and say, right, you're queen number 4404. We start the racket all over again. 3 different queens, not an issue. I'm sure a queen was activated right after.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like they have cloning or DNA manipulation techniques because they can make them look exactly the same, essentially. So, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same actress, and yes, 2 was filmed in the same movie, but that's irrelevant to the reality of the canon. And I love the idea that the Borg are so amazingly advanced that they needed some sort of, special control hybrid mechanism piece. Because she's not a real person. I mean, she has no real torso. She has a spine of metal. She has a skull of metal, which is mostly metal. So there's metal with skin over it, which at that point means you're a robot with skin over it. But I'm sure there's some organic there as well to kind of help whatever. So she's a physical embodiment of the Borg, and either genetically engineered or a species found in the Delta Quadrant, because that's where they were primarily. And, it's a good way of working in the Borg system and using them and, reactivate every time one goes away. So I'm sure several BORG Queens died in the battles with 847 too. I'm sure several diamonds went out, did shit, tried, yes, we'll get them now, and then, damn it, we lost BORG Queen number 4,444,
And we've talked about this before. There's likely more than just one BORG Queen.
Yeah.
Like different ones for different unit matrices or whatever. And yeah, I just assume that they're all the same. See, that's the thing. The origin of the BORG Queen. Why is it this person? Like there's got to be something in their history for that. But interesting. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. What species is the BORG Queen, or a clone? We don't know.
Well, definitely she's species 125. She was simulated around age of 7 or 8 on the parents. Not that tells you anything. But it's definitely a clone at that point.
But why her? Like, did you have some latent ability or?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're all the same, so it's not as if there's 5 twin triplets,
Well, here's the question I have, because we know season 2 of Picard is dealing with like an altered version of history. Do you think that the Borg are still super active at this point, and maybe that's one of the links with 709? 709 figures that out some. Well, that being said, 709 doesn't have her Borg implants when we see her in the teasers, so
yeah.
So she didn't get assimilated in this reality. So is it a reality thing, or is it halfway through the season that story's wrapped up and they come up with the Borg thread or something, like, or is it into season 3? Like, who knows, honestly. There's a lot of ideas to discuss. When the artifact got destroyed, did that send out a signal that reactivated something, or like
It was just one cube though. It was just some random cube. I mean, they can obviously retcon to be more important. Okay, fine.
Which they will, because it's Picard.
But I do like the idea though of having, if the alternate universe, the Borg at that point are either, well, what's honestly worse? Not a threat at all because we haven't encountered them in that universe, which is all of a sudden, or a much bigger threat and we're fighting them for our lives. Which one's worse? I've got further points to make, but which one do you think's a cooler idea or and a worse concept, like, to find ourselves in?
Probably not. A reality where Q didn't send them to the Delta Quadrant to get the heads up on the Borg, and the Borg had more time to assimilate as they moved towards the Alpha and Beta quadrants, assimilate more species, become much more powerful, and the Federation's just caught with their pants down, essentially, and totally destroyed. And that could be the alternate reality that we see, is a stronger, different Federation, but maybe scaled back quite a bit because the Borg have wiped out a lot of the found like the members of the Federation at this point. Maybe it's a smaller Federation.
Oh, and you think maybe that's why then the Federation are more militaristic, because they're fighting the Borg in some...
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that it's very First Contact-y, but of all the races, that's certainly quite interesting. I mean, you've got to undo Raven, but maybe for whatever reason, maybe Q undoes every human interaction with the Borg with our heroes. So undoes Raven, so she shows up as Annika, great. Which means they don't ever which means the Borg don't ever get those humans, which could have been useful information to us. Maybe the first humans ever got. Take out the Enterprise, they never learned about them then. Assuming Voyager gets lost in Delta Quadrant, which it might not at that point because things have changed, then as soon as it detects the Borg to know what they are, gets killed straight away because, boy, it only knows how to be cautious because it's met them before. So then you might actually have an assimilated Janeway appear, because that'd be a fun payoff. You know, Voyager was actually simulated 5 years ago, or that I guess that's probably like 15 years ago, or just have him not sent over. But it would certainly be fun to have him be. We haven't fought them yet, and Seven is, but it's probably more interesting though that maybe they wake up, Borg coming to be a threat, and no one knows who they are except Picard and Seven.
Yeah.
And so they're able to say, us, we can help. And then the BORG Queen escalates it very quickly. And then they're like, well, this is actually the worst Borg I've faced. And it's not as if...
It'd be interesting, too, if Picard says, you know, I was turned into one. I was Locutus. Mm-hmm. And even though this queen hasn't met Locutus or knew about Locutus, something about the name or the sparks, and it turns out they're connected.
Ceremonial name, yeah.
Or they're connected in some way to the Borg.
Oh, the mycelial network.
There you go. Yeah.
The Borg serial network.
And so the desire to get Locutus, I don't know. See, it makes Locutus super important to get him back. Like, he was just supposed to be like a mouthpiece for to talk to the Federation, but they played him up to be so important. And then in First Contact, it's like, no, I didn't really even need you. It's fine. I don't want you back.
In reality, he was like Stephen Hawking's voice computer.
Yes.
Super essential, but at the end of the day, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
As in any machine. But because Annika not having the implants is super important, obviously.
Yeah.
And but Picard had PTSD in season 1, so I wouldn't, because he feels more gusto and more strong in season 2, obviously because the writers are better writers, etc. But you can't just take away all that baggage and say, now he's got positive gusto to fight the Borg again. He's an old man, it's 40 years old, just went in the Borg cube 1 week ago, he's also died since. It's like, there's not really, that wouldn't connect unless it's just the Seven stuff is separate to the...
Well, we got some super chats here we're going to get to.
Excellent.
So, Tangerine Star 26 stars and £2.
Thank you.
Queen wants Soji or Jean-Luc Picard android tech to perfect the Borg. Yeah.
That is a great curveball suggestion. Do the super chats, we'll jump back to that. That's a great curveball. Yeah.
Not a banned account, $2. What would Burnham do in the first meeting with the Borg and Q-Who? Talk them to death. She would use Kirk logic, the way he kills machines, and tell them that their existence is not worth their time, so they would just self-destruct. Just bore them to death. Damian Bailey, £5. I'm wondering if the Borg has been wiped out like the Krenim Imperium temporal incursion. No, I don't think so. Not a banned account, $5. Maybe Picard is doing, and It's a Wonderful Life. This timeline is what if Picard had never been there to face the Borg and no Locutus? Yeah, I could see that being a definite thing. Yeah. Zeraxis, though, $10. Thank you so much. That's awesome. There's a good chance the Dominion War goes differently without Borg contact as well. Cisco basically developed a Defiant and ended up on DS9 because of his wife's death at Wolf 359. That's interesting because we do have that the little hint of the, something of the Prophet. I forget what it's called now. In that first teaser trailer for Picard. That would be an interesting tie-in, actually, because that was an important thing for his wife to die and for the Defiant tech to be made. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That's impressive, Zeraxis.
Well, double down for a second then. Maybe Picard having felt his PTSD last time and having died. I don't think he would, but they've done things I wouldn't agree with many a time, so let's not count it out. Maybe Picard says in some weird moment, not realizing Q's listening, if only I wish I never met the Borg. Yeah. And he wakes up. And it's like that, all the things that shifted because of that are, like you said, unimaginably varied. But then it's just tapestry again. That really is just tapestry again. And it wouldn't explain 7, so that doesn't work.
But you can see Alex Kurtzman and writers going, what was one of the best episodes of TNG? This Tapestry one's pretty good. All right, let's redo that story, but in our way. Like, make it
obviously,
a season arc.
It's obviously a thing they could do. Because that's certainly, I mean, every bit of repercussion. But then it boils down to a Borg cube comes and attacks with BORG Queen. It's a... But then Q can just undo the universe. Like, you're just at the mercy of, like, Picard can't undo that. You know what I mean? There is no undo switch from his point of view. He's got to physically get to Q, who's obviously listening, and convince him to stop it back. So that becomes a more of a soul searching. I mean, Tapestry was a soul searching episode, not a reality episode. You didn't really get stabbed again and again. It wasn't a real universe. It was all Q powers. And if you recall, Q and Voyager said, "Don't antagonize the Borg." So they're actually an exception to the rule. Don't piss the Borg off. They might come after you. So, don't provoke the Borg. There you go. So, and I think Q would know and want to do that, even if he's grey hair Q.
Here's what happened. Q got assimilated by the Borg.
Well, that would be a thing.
But going back to Changerine Star 26's Queen wants Soji or John Luke Picard's android tech to perfect the Borg. That's interesting, but I don't think that would be the play that they would go for here. I'm assuming that Picard is going to become human again because of Q at some point, at least for a little while. He might change him back at some point, but that's going to annoy Q quite a bit. So he will say it's cheating. He has said that. So I don't know. My mind's just kind of all over the place with ideas here, so I can't focus. But Danny Shields, though, throws in €5. Samuel pronouncing that they have better writers than season 1 seems odd, considering Michael Chabon is a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer. Samuel, do you want to answer that one?
So, every writer, director, author can win awards, but does not continue their career with award-winning material, and does not therefore imply that everything they've written or directed previously to their award is also award-winning material. Multiple directors have a single hit. Think M. Night Shyamalan with Sixth Sense. Truly phenomenal, and occasional other good ones, but also his films have gone down drastically. Think other authors that do not make 45 best-selling books. Once a winner does not always mean a winner. His best-selling Pulitzer Prize winner was not in science fiction, was not television, was not long form, was not existing franchise. All those things put together. So no, quality. Now, someone who's an unknown can also come in and write genius. Ron Moore, for example, for Star Trek Voyager, etc., came in very new to things, was amazing. Otherwise everyone would always be the best at what they do. He was, it wasn't a story when he came in. It was it's Kurtzman's story. It was changed during production. We know that. He then said later on he based a lot of this stuff because Dad was either dying, ill, or feeling. So he put a lot of his own old man angst feeling drama into it, which had no particular place. It made the Picard character very sad. They did lots of other things. They changed the ending. So it wasn't even his original vision or the guy's original vision that designed the thing. So you can say I can say that, but it's pretty obvious when you watch season 1 that it's poorly written, to say the very least. And you can see in comparison to season 3, which is pretty well written.
It's like saying that somebody who won first place at Daytona 500 driving a race car will go to the Olympics and win a gold medal in the 500-meter sprint. They were fast in one thing and they got a gold. Yay. Doesn't mean it translates necessarily. So. And
a book is very different to a TV series.
Yeah. Especially one with established history and canon characters.
And show running's hard. Especially when the people above you are interfering. Because if you have your own vision, well, think like Suicide Squad, right? He had a vision, the director. The studio changed it. He left. No one liked the film. Because it wasn't either the vision or the change thing.
And Sackball makes a good point. Some bands have one hit, doesn't mean that all the songs after that are good.
Yeah. Also doesn't
mean... A lot
of
one-hit wonders out there, yeah.
Also doesn't mean the Beatles would have made successful punk rock bands or jazz musicians. a skill does not translate 1-to-1.
Yeah.
You know?
Not a band account, $5. The Enterprise travels back to Viridian 3, resurrects Captain Kirk. They warp to the Borg. Kirk seduces the BORG Queen. She sees the error of her ways.
Well, hey now.
There you go. That's a book. You got to suggest that to Shatner, and then have Judith and Garfield Reed Stevens write it.
Oh, and Michael Starkle says, I wouldn't frame Shabon as a one-hit wonder. That isn't true. Oh yeah, didn't think he was. I mean, you can have multiple wins. I mean, look at James Cameron. Here's a slew of some of the best films of all time. That's exceptional. But doesn't mean he can make a rom-com necessarily, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Will Smith. You know, he's an amazing actor when he plays his range. When he was in After Earth, universally disliked because he just wasn't very, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's range outside the range, but you need a good script and a good director and a good whatever.
Yeah.
I think Shabon's lovely, but it doesn't mean he was right for that thing.
Yeah. And Medallion says, I will give credit to Shabon for that Calypso short trek, but that's about it. That Calypso short trek is also based on an old mythological story, so there's really nothing original or new there. It's just cut and paste and insert Star Trek names here.
It also didn't have to link to the canon whatsoever, because it was in its own sub-time, which they even retconned out in Discovery Season 3 as saying, yeah, that's the... They didn't even want to use it, was how weird and retconny it was. It was a pure short, and that was in any universe. Yeah.
But Kyle Wong puts in £4.50. Do you think Bring Back the Queen is a bit of lazy writing? Depends how it's done. It can definitely be lazy writing, yes. But if it's handled well and has is attached to a good story, I'm all for it. Like I said, I've kind of been bored with the BORG Queen and just the Borg in general for quite a while. So everybody's like, "Oh, I want to hear the Borg origin story." I'm like, I don't really give a shit. Like, they don't need to go into that. This could be part of that, though. I could see some kind of communication with the BORG Queen and get from the dawn of time, and they get the whole history of the Borg and why she was chosen to be the Queen. If we get why she specifically is the Queen, like I said earlier, that might be interesting because I want to know why it's her, and what special trait she had to do that. Because I can see the Borg forming and not having a one driving force, because they were just kind of spreading out, and then for them to be all linked together and have a common cause, that would be beneficial. So what brought that on? Cool. That might be interesting to hear that story if it's done well. But if it's done badly, then forever the story of the Borg is going to be shit. And right now I like the mystery, Like, I don't need to know where the Borg started.
It all comes down to writing. We've seen the Trek writers of the current Trek aren't really up to par as from the older Trek. Now, there's a lot of crap old Trek. Fine, writing. Yes, fine. But there's also the best Trek we've ever had in the older Trek, because there's more of it and it was, refined more. It had more time, etc. Well, this season they've obviously got more time. And yeah, we don't want to know the origin of the Borg. That would be lazy writing to say, oh, let's just do Origin of Borg, that'll get views. That's lazy writing. That's beyond lazy writing of, oh my god, let's do the, that's not, it's like, honestly, it is lazy writing to just do Pike on the Enterprise, but that is different because that was massive fan interest. And at the end of the day, the fans are who are paying everything you're doing for. And so if the fans have an outcry for something, like, the customer is always right in the general sense, and obviously people wanted that. And that was an opportunity they had rather than lazy writing. If they'd said, here, you want this, right? And we're like,
That is the Borg thing. Everybody's asked about the Borg. Everybody's fascinated with the Borg. How many times have we heard we want to hear about the Borg origin story? Like, that, the Borg is being demanded by the fans. So that's exactly what they will do.
Well, they ignored it in season 1. And even a hint to what the future is of the present, of the Borg. But it's like I said, the BORG Queen isn't even a character to me, so having her origin is a little bit redundant. Now, flashback, it's a one flashback sort of thing. You wouldn't want a season or even an episode on the BORG Queen origin because she's not a character. Now, maybe they could find a Borg cube, right, destroyed, and in the wreckage they find a tube which has a unactivated BORG Queen in it. And then they take that BORG Queen... actually, no, would that be interesting? If a Borg cube was destroyed, say random ship in Picard season 2, right? and they haven't seen Borg in 3-5 years. They find a random Borg wreckage, clearly just broken, which in itself is ooh, who destroyed the cube? That's interesting. Why are there no more cubes? And they go through the wreckage. No Borg drones, which is another mystery. But there's one cylinder. It was shielded, and it's got a unactivated Borg Queen in it. Fresh slate. And so now we cut to Picard saying 6 months later, he walks into a science lab, sees the Borg Queen lying on a table. He's like, it's okay, Jean-Luc, it's okay. She's not alive.
Yeah.
And then they activate her. She's not a Borg Queen, she's just the physicality of the Borg Queen body. And they work out her biology. Like, then that would be an interesting story, because then if you turn on the Borg Queen body without the connection to the collective, how does the personality evolve without the Borg Queen identity, as defined by everything else? Because then she's not a Borg Queen; she's a Borg Queen shell, and then maybe used as a weapon against the Borg or to negotiate with them. See, that's an interesting story, because it's a you know, what do you think?
That's a fantastic idea. That I would be interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Actually. Or even if they do activate her and all of a sudden she starts to reach out to the collective and slowly start, getting back in the network, I guess. That would also be interesting for them to find a way to stop that or not have that happen.
Could it be amazing to have could it be like LOL, a child trying to teach it, and now Picard's been tasked to teach a Borg Queen, a pre-Borg Queen, how to exist. And we saw with Hugh how not collective access was different. And we never saw how disconnecting her from the collective was, except the virus at the end when she's dying and can't hear people. That's a different thing. I think it could be super interesting, actually. Because then it's a conduit to a concept rather than an actual character, because you're inventing a new character. It's like Weyoun, the one Weyoun where he was a traitor, right? That Weyoun, totally different. But Weyoun's just a construct. They're all different, they're all the same, they're all there. But yeah. Okay.
No, that's a great... That story's too good. They won't be doing that. But it's a great idea.
See,
sure.
It's not hard to write Star Trek that's good, guys. It really isn't. It really isn't. Oh.
General Grievous, though, $2. Lazy writing from Kurtzman? Nah. Sarcasm.
Well, I mean, lazy ideas. He doesn't write anything. So, lazy ideas from Kurtzman. Or at least poorly thought out ideas.
He co-wrote some movies and stuff.
Well, hey, sure. I just mean for Trek. Sure thing. Guys, what do you think about the story Dara just had?
It's like trying to... let us know what you thought of that idea, actually, guys. Yeah. General Grievous says it's like trying to explain Yoda. The more you say, the less wonder there is to the character. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
5,000% agree.
Sackball says, I don't want a Borg explanation or origin. Some mystery and stories are better that way. Exactly. Not everything needs to have an explanation. We know what the Borg is and what they want. That's enough. I 100% agree. I've been saying that for years now. Don't care.
I mean, look at Doctor Who. When they gave her an absolutely appalling origin story, it's like, well, there you go. That damaged the franchise more than anyone could ever imagine. Huh.
Yeah.
Great.
Not a band account. $2. Maybe Control went back in time and made the Borg.
Shush.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shush. No. No. You'll stop. You'll stop.
Sorry, were you going to say something before I read that?
No, I as soon as I heard Control, I tried to stop you. That was the joke.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for the attempt anyway. Kyle Wong puts in £5.50.
Thank you.
Picard is technically not a human anymore, so would the Queen sense it? And could Picard get simulated? At least there's no T there. Stimulated. Anyway, that's interesting, because that's kind of what I thought too. Like, if he died, which he did, and was put into an artificial body, and she maybe always had this little sense that he was out there, like this little small, minute connection to him. If that goes away, does she really care enough, though? Like, why does the kid is the be-all and end-all and be so important that she would care about that? Like, I don't know if I would find that interesting. I think that's more interesting for Q. Like, Q realizes that Picard died and comes back and is like, what the hell, man? Like, so I don't know. I don't know about that, but. And I always wondered that after Best of Both Worlds. I always thought he had some kind of connection to them. And he does hear them in First Contact and stuff like that. Like, so that's interesting.
Well, it's like I said to you, and this has amazed me that you never thought this before, that I said that in First Contact, no, what we see is an actual part of his BORG implants reacting to the cube. It wasn't a dream, it was an actual physical reaction, and you never thought that. Because the voices aren't fake figment, they're real, they're just a literal thing. Which was kind of cool that I was able to add that to a mythos.
Yeah. Marco Van Osh, though, puts in 10 euro.
Thanks so much.
And says, how about the Borg show up because the Queen detected 709 when she connected to the cube in Season 1 and wants her back? Then, when shit hits the fan, Q shakes things up. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but again, why is 709 so important? I guess they kind of go into that in Voyager a little bit, but I can't remember the storylines for that.
Well, importance is a variable term. By its very nature, no one in the collective is important, right?
Yes.
So that concept already, even the BORG Queen, who's died several times, isn't like one woman isn't important. It's the consciousness, it's the idea. Seven was in the only human ship we can assume to go after the Borg personally. That's already something kind of special. The dad had anti-Borg tech, which already makes the lineage special. Okay. Maybe because of that she was groomed to be part of the... I don't know. She was then chosen for whatever reason, probably luck of the draw, whatever, to be one of the personal guards in a sense of the... And there's only so many 001s, so she's already chosen to be one of those of 9. That's her specialty. And then she was the only Borg drone to actually leave and be like that capable and that like talking back to home. An annoyance for the Queen, etc. Plus she then knew Voyager, and Voyager was a fascination. So it's more of an accumulation of small things, and just being out of the collective is kind of enough. You know?
Yeah. Sirsta says, I feel like 709 was meant to be one of the queens.
Why? Why would you think that?
Yeah, like that's...
show us a reason.
The other thing we got to suss out is whether this is part of the whole alternate reality thing or if this is just a separate storyline, because we're not sure how long each is going to last, right? So,
well, I mean, we'd assume 2 seasons in varying degrees of reveal, twist, moving, because it's back to back. You know, they're doing one big story. They're not doing, and in theory, they're going to retcon it to link to season 1. Because remember, Stuart, it's a multiple season, like a book, with chapters. So it's all meant to connect. As if they didn't fire the showrunner or he leave and they change the plot line. You know, as if they didn't do that. And I want to jump back. Actually, someone had a great point early on. There's a super chat to read.
There isn't right now, no.
So someone had a really, really super point about... Did I say stupid? No, I mean super. Don't know if it sounded like stupid. When they said the androids are going to be... what drags her out.
Yes.
Especially if they've now got... Because remember, the androids then made androids on that planet. So the tech is advanced in and of itself. And so that I can see being super interesting. Because they've been hidden for a long time. Perhaps Soji does something unwittingly which triggers something which sends a signal. In our prime, like stay with our current... swap universes, we'll get there in a minute. And that would be enough, because if Data was enough to risk everything, to stop, to wait... I know Data was also to unlock the ship, fine, yes. But also fascination, you know? If Soji and her kin are even more special, beyond special, with the potential to do more and more, or if you assimilate them, now you've got even more levels of coolness. Because I'm sure they'll be assimilated, I'm sure that's totally within their remit. That's a jump they need, a big jump. Well beyond where they are. That would be enough reason for her to come back and get involved again.
It could be. It could be that the organic component of the Borg is holding them back to some degree at this point, because each time they assimilate, they evolve, and they're at that point now where that is actually a hindrance to them, and actually a weakness, as we saw in First Contact.
And Endgame, because it was biological, it killed the skin. And,
So what better way to transfer a consciousness? Transfer a consciousness and an actual, like... entity into an artificial body. It could be the next evolutionary step for the Borg. that is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But then how do they assimilate? Unless there's a technology that the nanites could change a body into an all totally artificial body.
Remember, it's all a means to end to get to Omega Particle to find perfection.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
all
that's true. Yeah.
It's all about just getting data. So if they can then evolve as people, maybe because then they might theoretically think that those bodies might then survive contact with the Omega Particle, more contact on the on the whatever, or more contact with other races. Maybe they think the Engodians in the 47th quadrant of the Alpha Triera sector. If only we have android bodies, we can survive their attacks and we can get their Omega Particle knowledge. It's all a stream of knowledge to get to that final point. And that would certainly be kind of interesting if the catalyst, or if even something as simple as, and I know you've said this for something else, I can't remember what, that maybe even Soji finds an Omega Particle, triggers Borg's interest, get her. Now Picard's interested in getting after her because she's like a daughter to me. And also super special to Borg, and they, So that's a worthwhile, that's a logical connection. Doesn't link to Seven at all. But that's certainly logical. And then Picard's even more interesting because he is a Golem, which is arguably some form of the enhanced thing,
And that, it could tie too that because he was transferred over to this Golem body, and if she does have a link with him, now realizes that he is, in fact, perfection, because he's lost any of the frailties or weaknesses of that body, of his human body. Could reawaken her enough that she wants to come after him. I kind of get that, but that means that link would have to be transferred over, and if everything was transferred as successfully as they said, that would be a distinct possibility. So, General Grievous throws in $2. The Romulans may have alerted the Borg, mucking things up. I mean, we don't know. Like, we never found out what the Borg were doing in Picard's time. They didn't seem to be a threat. Nobody seemed to really care. So maybe the Romulans and the whole artifact thing have actually alerted the Borg, and they're now moving back into Federation space. Could be a thing, sure. The Big E throws in $5. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What is the point when the Borg determine they have achieved perfection, fully harnessing Omega, assimilating everything in the galaxy or the universe? I don't know what the point is. Total knowledge, total enlightenment, what a lot of people look for with different meditations and different religions and things like that. And the Omega particle to them is very much like a religion or a god. So, I don't know. It's just a sense of enlightenment, I guess.
What? But it's okay. Oh god, what was it? There was a. Well, okay. It's like the Doomsday Machine, right? The race has long since perished, but the reason to be still comes around for a war that was never fought. All of those such devices. So the Borg did start somewhere for some reason, but it's been so long they have a mind of their own, literally, and they're doing their own thing. Whatever, like Vija, its original programming was to find data, and then hire him to work on more episodes of TNG. Oh wait, no, wrong data. And it gets corrupted. So I can very much imagine that, they are now a self-fulfilling prophecy of we must continue because we must continue, because our job is to continue because we must continue. Once you find it, well, while they're trying to find it, I mean, there are some goals that are so unreachable, and the definition of perfection is so vague. I mean, the Mega Particle, it's a goal, but it blows shit up very easily. And they've presumably been, I mean, I'm sure they've had scientists, Borg, working on it for decades, generations, hundreds of years. The same Borg drones doing the same algorithms in the same alcoves for 1,000 years, and yet they can't crack it. They aren't just
1,000 Borgs on 1,000 typewriters. Actually,
that's good. I like that. Well, but even if they got it, it'd be only better in the original Klingon. They haven't quite cracked the original Klingon.
That's true.
Yeah. That's the best line. So even if they reached that goal, they wouldn't know how to deal with it because it's a computer end goal rather than an actual practical thing because they're machines still. They are,
Yeah. Tangerine Star 26, £2.
Thank you.
Could the android seeking asylum be seeking asylum with the Borg.
Oof.
That's another good idea, actually. Um,
Oh God.
and I can see that absolutely, especially considering that they know there's this threat, which the tentacle threat, to wipe them out. So I mean, hey, team up with the Borg, the biggest bully on the block, just so you don't get beat up. Maybe.
Listen, Jericho. Do scientist Borg wear lab coats?
Well, as soon as you said scientist Borg, I thought of thrusting missiles of power because that was about the scientists born on the ship. But I didn't want to say it. But no.
Phenomenal. I know I said it tongue in cheek.
You can just see them with glasses. Lab coat. Yeah. Whoa. Look at this. Come up here.
Can you imagine scientist Borg in lab coats beaming to the BORG Queen's Unimatrix to a PowerPoint presentation where she's in a chair? Yeah. And they're all speaking with multiple voices. So it's
Yes.
it says like that voice. And she's like, so Borg 937, what do you think? Well, no.
Another one chimes in, no, you idiot. We told you that wouldn't work.
That should be a fan film. Scientist Borg.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, moving on.
Thank you. That was. I know I did it to myself, but thank you for keeping. Oh God. Okay. Thank you.
The Ronin throws in $5. Given the Omega particle was only really in one episode, do you think future writers, these or others, will pick up on that as a story thread? Yes. I mean, it was used in one of the games, one of the Armada games. It is a very destructive particle. There's even Starfleet finds it important enough to have the Omega Directive. So yes, I think it's something that should and could be revisited at some point. So yes, these writers I'm not sure about, but writers as a whole, yes. General Grievous, $2. The Borg harnessing Omega was Armada 1 or 2 game. Trying to remember now. I think it was number 2.
They did a lot in 2.
Wasn't the first one the time ship?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Borg killed us all in the future. They came back.
Yeah.
And that second one was all. It was, Locutus was there, etc.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, man, great game, great ideas. Yeah, I mean, you are right. It's only one appearance. It was kind of obviously retcon. It's interesting though. Because the goal isn't just to assimilate all life. If it was, they would assimilate. They would go into all worlds of the Federation, assimilate every planet. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we've flown next to Borg ships happily and not been attacked many a time, it doesn't also destroy all life. It's tech that is relevant to help them go forward. You can, in theory, fly past a Borg, fly through Borg space and be absolutely fine. If you're in a crappy enough ship. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Not a threat. 149 viewers and 127 likes. That's pretty good, guys, but I want to get to 150. I think a lot of you out there have not hit that like button, so hit the thumbs up and let's get to 150. Honestly, another $70 super chats would be fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys have been doing super great this live, and we really appreciate that. So
it's nice to come back to. It's been a great discussion.
This has actually
so far.
Generated a lot of great discussion, both in the chat and via us. So,
because that's the thing, the BORG Queen is a very untapped, if done cleverly, concept.
Are you saying you want to tap the BORG Queen?
No, I'm not. I'm saying the writers may want to. But it's probably more powerful as a dream character, as a nightmare character, because then you get all of the power. Because imagine, right? First Contact was true horror for Borg. Best of Both Worlds was definitely not true horror. It was conceptual horror, not real horror. And even body horror was a bit lackluster. First Contact, there we go, right? I can imagine if they want to go dark again, like with we saw what they did with prosthetics in Picard. Gruesome, effective, good job, right? They go real horror, bad, dark, and go take the zombies even further if they wanted to. But in a dream context, it would be very effective. They'd have all of their cakes and eat them too. because it doesn't mean anything, you know. And then it becomes, well, is that really Ichob's eye being pulled out level of gore, or is it Picard's mind adding gore in because he's scared of them? You know? Did they really do that, or so you can do whatever you want with that? And then, actually, speaking of Picard, it would certainly be fun to see. Hold on, one second.
Yeah. We'll just wait for him because he had a thought there. Don't know. His house is getting broken into. He's gonna die.
Just a really weird noise, like a train siren, but I'm far from the train station. No, it would be interesting though, which we've never tapped into, seeing Locutus talk to Picard in a dream. Untapped potential of the, you know.
Yeah. What would be the purpose though for that? Like,
well, it's obviously Picard's brain. That's his physical manifestation of the horror of the Borg, because he only remembered the Queen after the fact, and so, you know, the dark side of himself, and maybe even since First Contact, he's linked passionate aggression to the Borg to Locutus, and maybe retcon that he's had several dreams over the last 20 years of him fighting his own Borg self. Fighting in the sense he's an old man, so he can't do actual fighting. Fighting your inner demons, and then it's more interesting to have Locutus than BORG Queen. And then when suddenly the BORG Queen shows up in one of those nightmares after 30 years, what? And then the twist is that it's the real BORG Queen that's actually transwarped into Earth's solar system and is on a cloaked ship sending signals to her. And maybe the alternate universe is all just a dream put into Picard's brain. Would that be a good twist? Picard and Seven's brain, which is why they look so different. And then, oh my god, what if Q
is the one that makes him realize it?
No, what if Q is part of the delusion? What if the BORG Queen is doing something with Seven and Picard in their minds? And the whole thing is an alternate reality in and of itself.
I like the whole thing being a delusion, and then them not realizing it, and Q showing up and saying this is a delusion, and them not believing him, or knowing even who Q is necessarily. I kind of like that twist a little bit better, but that's really interesting, actually. I never considered that.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there.
Wow, not a banned account though. $2. Maybe the Borg are fleeing Packled raiding fleets. Yes.
Oof. I mean, that is after that, but I could see the Packled domination force being around for a good number of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if the
PDF. Those damn PDFs just messing everyone up.
What if the Borg have a defense for the Crimson Force Field?
Stuart, they do, but when tied in to the photonic cannon, that shit's unreal.
It's true. It's true.
Oh god, that'll be a reference, wouldn't it?
Like the entire Packled homeworld and the entire IQ of the Borg drop. Yes. I think the Packleds are not even worthy of assimilation,
no.
They said.
I think they said that too, yeah. I don't remember when. Because there was never Packleds in Voyager, or I don't know when they would say that, but that might just
it was mentioned once. Somebody wasn't worthy of assimilation. It was mentioned.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, let me just search that thing. Because I do remember that, but that's also just an obvious joke.
Yeah, but I know it was mentioned.
It would have to be 7 of 9 in...
Yeah, and I don't think we ever got the name Packled, but we just all assumed that not worthy of assimilation. Or was that the Kazon? It was the Kazon. Yeah. That's hilarious. I mean, even the Kazon were a bit of a threat. I mean, if the Borg don't want to assimilate the Kazon, they're not going to want to assimilate the Packleds, even though now they are a huge threat. But that's another story. The Packled Queen. So yeah, let's see. 143 likes, guys. We need 7 more likes to get to 150. Hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. Oh, here we go.
Well, that's shocking.
We got a shocking.
Following the Memory Alpha. Following their introduction in TNG Season 2, episode Samaritan Snare, the Packleds were also mentioned in TNG Season 4 installment Brothers, as having rescued Data's brother Lore. The Packleds were originally to have been led by him in the 6th season two-parter Descent, and Descent Part 2. They were ultimately replaced with the BORG in episodes. Did not know that.
So now we got the big baddie that's behind everything in Lower Decks. It's Lore.
That's interesting. To have Packleds be the big... I mean, they are stupid in episode 2, let's be fair. So... Wow.
Jeez. I still think the big baddie for season 2 is Peanut Hamper. Anyway, moving on. General Grievous throws in $2. Whoopi Goldberg was invited to be in season 2. Yes, just by Patrick Stewart, but... And with Q being there, I'm kind of happy about that. Like, I'd like to see, her have a little bit of a role and not just be like a cameo appearance would be great.
Well, it makes sense. Makes sense with alternate realities. She can sense them.
And she can fight him off. Good question. Do Packleds have females? I would assume so. Laura was wearing a Packled uniform.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Got picked up by them. That was a good, a fun choice. Silly, but obviously.
Yes. So, any more theories or thoughts out there, guys?
Well, no. Are you excited? Yes, no, maybe.
Okay, there you go. Spam the chat with a yes, no, maybe about being excited for the Queen returning in season 2 of Picard.
It's such a tricky one because I could do it well.
This is true.
But that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme. But in fairness, I wouldn't do the BORG Queen well, that sounds dodgy. I wouldn't reuse the BORG Queen as a concept without serious, like, ooh, that's a good idea. And I certainly wouldn't want to do it in a fan film. Unless I change the universe, which is they are doing, to be fair. At least one of them.
Well, Sergeant Montgomery, $5. There is no anomaly in Picard's head, nor is Picard synthetic. Q reverts the timeline back to when he never advanced first contact with the Borg. Opinion. We kind of put that out there originally, yes. And the Federation wasn't ready for the Borg threat when it finally did arrive. And that's a perfectly plausible scenario. A much smaller Federation, more militarized for sure.
But he also knows what he said in Tapestry. And there's too many ripples from that. And like we said, because if Q undoes reality, like, does he live in a multiverse? If he does, then our Picard is very less important because he deals with thousands of Picards. Billions of Picards. If it's one universe, which is really important, and Q is very linked to this one, then he would know, A, not to change all of history from that point, which would include his own interference in Voyager. Like, the Voyager was made based on tech developed to fight the Borg, like, just the natural evolution. So would he want to undo the relationship with Catherine Janeway and Cisco? And his sons, would his son still have knowledge of his reality shift? You know what I mean? Like, Q doesn't tend to do that sort of change. Even he knows. And I think the Q continues to say, excuse me, Q. Yes, Q? Well, no, this Q. Oh, sorry, Q. Don't do that, Q. Me, Q? No, that Q. I'm John Delancey, Q. Yes, you, Q. Why have you got white hair? Shut up, Q. Have you got Trekyards on?
Q, you.
Good end to the joke, Stuart. Good end to the joke.
All right, so for being excited for this,
yes.
We got a yes, no, a yes, maybe, no, yes, no way, yes, maybe. A lot more maybes than yeses.
Yeah.
Don't know, maybe, yeah. Let's see. Tangerine Star 26 throws in 2 pounds. Guinan is connected to both Borg and Q. Plot point? It is true. The Borg did destroy her planet and her species, essentially.
Also, Mr. Arctic Wolf says, why are all the Borg human? They're not. No, we see multiple races throughout. Yes, obviously the first couple were all... Actually, they weren't all male, but they're mostly male, all human, but humanoid. But actually in Discovery, Picard especially, we saw actually Herodrian Borg, we saw multiple alien races, and in Voyager we saw a couple. There was the same rough stuntmen, just a different... that was more just the nature of the... You know, we built like 12 suits for First Contact, we rehired on Voyager. They could deal with being in makeup for hours and hours and hours and do the physicality. We're not going to keep rehiring different people that... You know what I mean? And they're not just going to keep changing noses where you barely see a nose. But there are... I think
we've seen Klingons, Bolians,
Vulcans,
Herodrian,
sure.
like you said. We've seen a lot. And even there was a toy line, Assimilated or something, where there was like a Ferengi Borg as well, like a bunch of different Borg assimilations. So...
Yeah, and if you want to go very technical, all the children from the Borg children, all different races. So we did see...
Yeah, that's true.
And I just found a picture of a really, really good-looking Klingon Borg from First Contact, which I didn't even realize existed. So cool for them. So there's enough. Obviously, it should be every race under the sun. Oh, and you obviously got the Klingon Borg that fought with the guys on that sphere. They were the sphere guys. They fought the Resistance.
Mm.
And if you want to be very technical, every alien race we saw in Matrix 01 was an assimilated Borg. Mine obviously was Borgified, but there was a plethora of races in that one. And while technically not seen Borg, they were seen human representations of their Borg self. So, still counts.
S1 Anwar says a Mugatu Borg. There you go. That's something we have. Yeah. 4 more likes. 4 more likes, guys.
4, you say?
I do.
And a final... Oh, 23. Come on, guys. $23.
$23 would be amazing. And yes, 4 more likes at least. So last super chat slot right now is Tangerine Star 26. And keep in mind, guys, tomorrow we're doing another live. We're talking about a ship of sorts.
No, say what it is. Say what it is. Yep, say where we saw it.
There might be a new ship in season 2 of Picard, a 4 nacelle design.
There might be.
On the back of one of the chairs, with Picard and the streaking ship. So we're going to talk about that and
a first Picard ship.
Ooh. And then Wednesday, of course, is Star Trek Day. So who the hell knows what we're going to be talking about? But we'll be scrambling, and we'll have live topics for probably a good week and a bit after that. So. Be ready for some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be shatteringly lots.
At least we're hoping. I hope there's maybe nothing will come out of it.
Well, we had that last year, give or take. But I think they've been filming everything. Like, they have so much footage in the can.
Yeah.
Discovery finished season 4. Stranger Worlds finished season 1. Picard finished season 1. Lower Decks finished season 4. Prodigy season 2. Prodigy, they're already filming next season. So every single show is either fully finished filming or almost fully finished filming, and therefore
Lower Decks is working on season 3 as well.
Yeah, he's writing the season finale like last week. He's like literally at that point. So it is like they are so incredibly far along on this thing, which has been great because it's nice to have like a wait. Because let's be fair, do you really want to see a trailer that only encompasses 1 episode or 2 episodes, which we had Discovery season 2, unfinished effects that look a bit whatever. It's really great to be able to see it when it's a bit more full, etc.
Yeah, so we're expecting some great stuff on Wednesday. I want to see Strange New World stuff because that's going to be what everybody's going to be talking about, and we're looking forward to that. Sergeant Montgomery puts in $2. It says, would a Cetacean Borg be hairless? Like one of those hairless, ugly cats? Maybe they shave them before they get assimilated. I don't know.
Oh, goodness. Goodness.
Sergeant Montgomery now has the last super chat slot. Guys, we hit our 154 goal, which is amazing. So thank you so much. If you still haven't hit that like button, though, hit it. Let's see how high we can get that. But yeah, another $20 in super chats would be a fantastic way to close out here. So
we're so close.
4 5s, 4
So
5s,
close.
and then you get the last super chat slot as well. So, and if you have anything else you'd like to talk about with this BORG Queen idea, do you think it's a new queen? Is it the old queen, just with a new actress? Because of course they need to go with a new actress because she's younger.
Well, and let's be clear. Do you even mind as a different actress?
I don't. No, I don't know.
No.
Even if it's a different BORG Queen, like represented a bit differently.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine too.
100%. Don't mind it. It's been done before. It's impractical to have the same one.
Yeah.
And it's like Worf. You know, it should always be the same Worf, but the makeup can look the same still because it should still be, you know, the same, etc.
Feed Me Seymour asked, do BORG age? That's interesting. I wouldn't assume so. They have the nanotechnology, and then plus they're already like zombified. I don't know. That's a very good question. I would assume not, though.
Well, yes and no. Aging is a relative concept, but 709's dad looked fatter and less healthy after being Borgified for 25, 30 years. He was also Borgified for 20, 35 years, which is why he fucks up the skin. Because they don't care about the skin, they're Borg. The skin is irrelevant. They're shoving tubes in you. So I think they fuck you up, and you stay at that fucked up point as long as they want you to. Because, I mean, come on, if they can literally make you Borg and un-Borg, if they can change your skin tone, if they can give you hair that is never there, they can make your skin less wrinkly. Skin, which itself is been shoved and dyed and dad done stuff to. Yeah, I think not aged, but you know.
Chuck A says Q ages. Q can do whatever the hell he wants. He's Q. He can look like older just to match up with Picard. So
Stuart, how does a ball with serpent heads age? Q is a ball with serpent heads, guys. That's his actual corporeal form. Q is representing himself as a humanoid. He doesn't age. It's a silly comment. Q is a corporeal ball. Yeah. Q also looked like lots of other things. Like in one episode, he was that alien when Mini Q was attacking the big ship. Like that was Q in a disguise.
Yeah.
Because he can do that. He's not got a corporeal form. That's humanoid.
Bill Barkley says, do BORG watch Trekyards? Hopefully not, because I mean, are you guys the BORG? You're a collective, after all. The Trekyardian collective.
Goodness. We're going...
General Grievous is already sniping in, though, with $1 for the last Super Chat slot. Do we really want a Star Wars guy with the name like General Grievous to get the last Super Chat slot, guys? Come on.
I'm always torn. I'm thrilled and disturbed in equal measure.
Chuck A says he was kidding.
But it's good to have a discussion, though. And, you know, hard to tell context when you only have text.
And we've heard a lot of people, like, in comments after we saw Q, why is Q older? Like, and they're seriously asking the question. So we're kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Legitimately putting in a comment, joking.
Yeah.
Legitimately quite a useful thing. We don't know if you're joking or not. And that's fine.
The Ronin, $2. Take this, Star Wars. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Not this time at General Grievous. The Big E, $2. We are a hive mind of fanboyism. Yes, and voyeur, what? No, moving on. George Mangrum, $1.
Whoa.
Not a band account, $2. Did you ship Q and Picard? Did we? What?
No.
Did you ship Q and Picard? Okay.
No, we didn't. You know, isn't that great that this many people hate Star Wars with a passion that they're just firing? You know, not to reference Star Wars, but this reminds me of General Grievous is standing there on an assault field, and our audience are helming AT-ATs, and you're saying you can't let General Grievous win, and he grins in his robot body, and all our fans press a $sign.
We're all trying phasers, not blasters. Now, phasers, can they be deflected by lightsabers? That's the question.
Phasers, lasers. Now the question is, will General Grievous survive that attack of Super Chat snipes? Or is his corpse destroyed on that battlefield of ice? Because you've been... What?
Well, Marco Van Osh, €1. Sergeant Montgomery, £1 or $1. And then General Grievous is still alive and kicking with $1 super chat. Oh, and Chuck A takes him out with dollars.
Now see, now there's only one, so he's able to deflect that. Because I feel like Grievous has now gone all because his legs too. He's out 6 lightsabers, and so while you might have shot lots and lots of blaster bolts, he's now deflecting because you warned him. See, if someone put out $100, please don't do that. I'm joking. This is part of a bit. Then there'd be a big.
That'd be a Death Star laser, yeah.
Well, that'd be $1,000. Don't do that. 100 is just a simple turbo laser from space.
But Chuck A, $1.
Yeah.
The Ronin, $2. I'm just kidding. Star Wars is great. And Marco Van Osh puts in a €1 super chat for the last super chat slot.
And how fun of an analogy was that, Stuart? Did you enjoy that?
That was great, yeah.
Boy, General Goose, you make just that stupid, amazing name creates so much comedy here on Trekyards.
Not a band account, $1. Jet slot now.
Oh,
Biggie checks bank account for $100.
Yes. No. Save them for drunk yards. Much funnier. I do, Bill. Thank you. They're awful, but thank you. Well, good. Yeah, brilliant, guys. We. Oh.
Sergeant Montgomery, $5. Death Star in range. Transport 10 photon torpedoes to the main reactor room. Energize. That's a good snipe.
It is.
Damn.
But would you get through their deflector shields? I think deflector shields of a Death Star would be strong enough to stop transporter beams. I'm just saying.
Not stop them, deflect them, because they're deflectors. So they'd beam on one of the Star Destroyers nearby, because it's going to deflect right off the shield. There you go.
Oh. Okay.
That's how deflectors work, right? What?
That's. I don't know. Is that the answer you want, Stuart?
What's that?
What?
What'd you say?
Is that the answer you wanted, Stuart?
Yes. No.
Excellent. No. Can you repeat the question?
So Sergeant Montgomery now is the last super chat slot. So I think we've vanquished Mr. Grievous.
Yeah, Grievous. What's your favorite lightsaber color?
Is there a joke coming after this?
No.
Oh, General Grievous, $2. More. Oh, he's relishing in this.
Yeah, but that's the wrong side though, because you're the Luke character. The other guy says 5 everything. So, oh no, he's standing there with the robot arms going more, and then
everybody aim for the heart.
Yeah.
Aim for the chest plate.
He's got He's got one of those spinning lightsaber blades from Rebels on his heart, like right there. Oh no, he's just attached it to his chest, and his hands have to go over it because they're just extremely. It's like, ooh.
He's got a Doctor Strange thing protecting him.
Goodness.
Sergeant Montgomery with $1. This is fun.
Now the question is though, right?
Right.
And take the prequel. Where they kill all the Jedi. Take that out of the equation because that was all done for dramatic ideas. Mace Windu, right? Or General Grievous. Well, he hasn't got the Force, but Mace Windu say, how many blaster bolts in quick succession will it take for him not to deflect? You know, because it's a movement, it's a pattern, it's a dance. Because if there's a finite amount, then the answer is just have more troops firing. There's only he can only deflect 100 at a time. You just have 100 people, another 100 on top of that. Obviously, you deflect them into other people. But if you've got 300 single blaster bolts coming in, can you deflect them all? Guys, what do you think on this Star Wars podcast, Star Yards? What do you think?
We'll have to do a live talking about such things. What would win?
How many would Chuck deflect if a Chuck deflect bolts?
How many bolts could a saber deflect if a saber could deflect? No. Anyway, moving on.
That was good. That was right there.
Marco Van Osh puts in €1 or €1, yes. And General Grievous snipes it in with $1 again.
Did you answer the Star Wars question?
He didn't answer what his favorite color was for lightsaber. No. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. General Grievous is a discontinued version of the Borg, or discounted version of the Borg. Yeah, it's the dollar store or Poundland version of the Borg.
Oh, thanks, Chuck. Is Mace Windu dead? I hope not.
Probably not, actually.
I mean, really badly injured at that point, probably. But that's like the easiest retcon to remember bringing him back.
Yep.
Super easy, barely inconvenience.
We'll come back with an eye patch, you know.
Leather jacket.
Superheroes.
I use this motherfucker a lot.
Call it the Jedi Initiative.
Oh, no, it's called the Skywalker Initiative because it's a bittersweet pill. That motherfucker saved the galaxy, then he killed the galaxy, and then they had a son and a daughter, and then they died, and then there was another lady that took her name. It was weird.
And Chuck A says, "Happy Star Trek Day in advance, Trekyards." Thank you very much, Chuck A. Hopefully, you'll be tuning in on that day and for many days afterwards to hear all of our thoughts on things, because I'm sure we'll have lots to look at and discuss.
And I mean, who? Actually, good little question. Who was here when we did the Star Trek Discovery Season 1 trailer, the full one? Because that was a cluster F. That was my first example of make graphics now all day.
Yeah, no shit.
I think I made like 20 videos out of that, graphic-wise, and they were all like worth doing. It was kind of, I mean, the last two maybe not, but they were all very, very like, oh, okay. Because the fact is, every single one was a new art design. The turbo lifts, the corridor. If you break down 1 second, one frame, well, there's the engineering room, thoughts, and that was just a phenomenal experience of like, let's dissect it truly, each individually. And so very much so, if we get a trailer for Stranger Worlds with a new phaser, new uniforms, new tricolor, new bridge, new turbo lift, new, like, and we know all the stuff's gonna happen. As in, if they show a trailer, there'll be new stuff. That could be a lot of stuff.
A ton of stuff, yeah. General Grievous, though, $2. The Sith screwed me over. If it has a saber, it dies. If it moves, kill it. All right. Honestly, somebody, anybody, another $10 would be a fantastic way to end this out. So 2 5s, 10 1s, 110. $10 is an amazing number for one of our lives here, especially a short one like this, which is only an hour and a half.
We are so close, aren't we? Damn.
Yeah, another $10 would be great, if possible. But right now, General Grievous is the last super chat slot.
As he is fighting his little heart out.
Feed Me Seymour says, sorry, cap slip. Have the Borg in this universe assimilate a Terran from your universe. From the Mirrorverse.
Well, that would open up all of the... Well, they said there was no... Because Discovery made it abundantly clear there's very few universal hops. So there are very few chances to simulate anybody.
Yeah.
That would be a fun story, though, Mirror Universe, because that, once you know there's another universe out there, ripe for the picking.
It's just the Mirror Universe Borg come over to our universe. They fly around in cubes that are painted white with flowers on the side.
Oh, they're super nice.
Yeah.
You know, they actively give you...
It's a Canadian Borg.
They inject you with maple syrup. And, yeah. That's it. That's all they do. They're a very confusing species.
Yes. True.
We all ask why, and they say, sorry. We're like, no. Thank you, great, thank you, but why? And they say, do you want some tea? And I'm like, no, why? And they say, have you seen our moose? And you say, you got a moose? And then we're distracted. Yeah.
Bryce says, if nobody gives Trekyards another $10, they can never ever leave. They would be trapped here, buried alive.
That's good.
Oh, we already got 5, so we just need $5 more now. But Area 51 throws in $5 for the last super chat slot, possibly. It says, BORG Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. Gotcha.
Okay. But I do think they can do some really good stuff with it. But I think Flashback or Nightmare is great, and then if they want to link that in season 3, being that actually the reason for the nightmares because she was sending a signal out to corrupt them, that's a good 3-season arc. Series 1, they all have PTSD Borg cube, and it's revealed that they retcon it because of a stupid idea that the BORG Queen allowed the ship to get destroyed so they could give them Borg tech and see what their cult do with Borg tech. First retcon. Second season, they have nightmares. Third season, the BORG Queen's back. It's all Borg plot, but more subtle than assimilation. That's what I'd do if I was forced to do this right.
Jonathan C throws in $5. Sorry, I'm late. I just got done making some delicious homemade ramen.
Ooh.
Here's a $5. I'm going to watch from the beginning. Cheers. Well, thank you very much, John.
What a lad.
You hit our goal for us, so thank you.
Unwittingly. Amazing.
You are, as of right now, when you're watching this back, the last Super Chat winner.
Although he could go to the end of the video and see, so he could spoil it for himself at this point. Because unlike us who are live, he could go check. Or wait and see.
It's true.
So I'm looking at you on the screen. I'm looking at you. Oh, there's 2 of you actually, technically.
General Grievous.
Oh no!
At Area 51, by now you must realize you're doomed.
You are doomed.
So sorry, Jonathan C. You are not the last Super Chat slot. Sergeant Montgomery is with $1.
Goodness.
Sorry, General Grievous. Star Wars sucks.
Thanks, Bryce. Well, final comments is different though. Data's a real character. Borg Queen's a concept. And a flashback works better to not interfere with the canon, whereas Data... And Data wasn't a flashback either. Data was a memory, and then a memory, and then a real life, alive subroutine. I still think they should have wiped Data's memory of him dying in the last season of Picard and brought him back to life, because it would have been easy. Like, really easy, and he wouldn't have had the pain of being dead, because he wasn't dead at that point. Really. Could have Data back really easily.
Yeah.
Stupid. Data's more worthy, more worth saving than letting him die. If you can erase his knowledge of dying and being... Because it wasn't even that he died, it was that he had to sit in a computer for 20 years. It was not that he died, if I was fine dying.
Sergeant Montgomery, though, $2.
Oh, sorry. Different debate.
82nd Airborne Snipe. And then General Grievous snipes in with $1.
You know, that's that Sith, man. That Sith. Every hand he has is on a different phone.
Imagine dollar. Just come in, boom, 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 boom.
This is when he have General Grievous 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and just like. Can you imagine like some absurd fan doing that, and it's just like just a torrent of just break the chat with color. So it's just solid blue. It's like
Smurf chat, everybody.
Actually, I wonder
Sergeant
how
Montgomery,
many super
$1.
chats it would take to like break the chat. There must be a limit of how many it can process before it, because it can't do. If you're doing one every like 1.5 seconds, it's got to process that. But if you're getting literally every second, that must get clogged up and like be backlogged and just be wall to wall.
Yeah. Mr. Jericho, I agree with you. Data wanting to die made no sense.
Bit silly.
Yeah. Marco Van Osh puts in €1, and Sergeant Montgomery throws in $1.
Such a war. This is a war. Yes, Bryce, exactly.
3 hands on phone, 1 hand for coughing into.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Stuart, I will see you tomorrow.
Yes.
For a ship discussion. Ooh,
yes, the ship discussion. A new ship, guys. We got a new ship.
Oh, you did that. And I will, of course, have some renders. I'll do a comparison. It's not the Stargazer! Obvious.
Or the Baran.
Yeah. But I'll do renders of both to compare. So we'll see you then. That should be fun. See you all there. All of you. We know you're all going to be there. So until then...
Sergeant Montgomery, $1. General Grievous, $2. 82nd Airborne can't beat Kenobi's men. Sergeant Montgomery, $1. Area 51, $2. I win.
Yes.
We'll lose in a second. Wait for it.
Foley.
I am Captain Foley, and he is Commander Sergeant Montgomery with $1. Hawkins.
Okay.
General Grievous, this is your chance.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, and much more over the next week or two. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.